Moving from Sunderland to London in 2010 and having lived in Leeds since 2015, I think about the injustices done to the place and the people, from the exploitation of workers to the eradication of industry and recent governmental cuts making it harder to replace the pride and the power of industry that's gone. The city's history is complex and inescapable. Because it's a shared history, there's a responsibility in dialogue. It demands to be handled with care. Sunderland's industrial heritage began along the River Wear, which flows from Wearhead in County Durham to the North Sea at Sunderland. Historically part of County Durham, Sunderland became part of Tyne and Wear in 1974. The river travels through Washington and into the city's suburbs, once crucial to its industrial growth. A lot of the industry was connected, because of them, the shipbuilding needing all the different materials. So it's like an ecosystem. Yeah, actually, because I've been making a spreadsheet and a lot of this stuff was exported, there was particular markets for things, a lot of the glass bottles went to Germany and stuff like that.
Shipyards, that was your dad's department, shipyard, port builder, labourers, loftsmen and sawyers.
Yeah.
Then there was the riggers, the plumbers.
Yeah.
Electrical painters, because they were me auntie Frances.
Yeah.
Her brother was a painter at the shipyards.
Right.
And then when they closed, he started doing decorating, painting,
Yeah.
decorating. Peter.
Yeah.
We've been working on it solidly for 4 months.
I mean,
It's a grand sight sitting
picker skills,
Somebody
they
said
were
it
a
was
family.
Yeah.
Bartrams was another shipyard, they were a
Our
family.
squad was having
Yeah.
When
yeah.
they were
for the day.
rich families
So,
who had the
Yeah.
Everything
shipyards.
was set for the launch. Hundreds of
They're
men
chopping
and
out
kids
the
turning up.
blocks to
Yeah.
let the ship
Got a
go
ship
down the
going up like
ways,
that,
you know.
it's-
And the shipwrights did that.
It's not
That would have been your dad's job, I think.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful thing.
Today, traces of Sunderland's past coal, iron and lead mines, as well as limestone and dolerite quarries, are still everywhere. Unlike other cities, the river unites Sunderland rather than dividing it. Women had an instrumental role in Sunderland's industrial economy, with numerous companies having a high percentage of women employees. As a student, I worked in the 22 libraries across the city from ages 16 to 22, although only 2 libraries remain open today. Sonia, my first manager at Silksworth Library, had worked in the Pyrex glass factory, but got a job at the library in her early 30s when the factory closed in 2007. Silksworth is a former pit village connected by colliery railway to other pits around Sunderland. After the mine closed in 1971, the exterior was landscaped into a public park. The former slag heap was made into an artificial ski slope, which was a popular choice for children's birthday parties when I was little. Sunderland's industry was rhizomatic. It resists narrative, chronology and organisation. Many local industries relied on each other for survival. The mines and shipyards were supplied by satellite industries like British Ropes, Sunderland Glassworks, Paintworks and National Galvanisers Limited. The decline of any one would impact them all. Growing up, it was impossible not to be aware of coal mining. The drift mine tour at Beamish Open Air Museum was a highlight of my childhood visits. I was proud to learn about Humphrey Davy, the inventor of the Davy lamp in 1815. Davy was asked by the rector of Sunderland to find a means of lighting coal mines safely. The final design was a basic lamp with a wire gauze chimney enclosing the flame. It is safe to use because the flame can't heat enough flammable gas to cause an explosion, although the flame will change colour. A dead canary to signal the presence of poisonous gases was no longer needed. What I never knew about growing up was the Women Against Pit Closures political movement that supported miners and their families during the UK strike, 1984-5. The group recently held an event commemorating the 40th anniversary of the strike at University of Durham.
Forever, for the union makes us strong.
Football is now a unifying community in the absence of the industries that once brought the people together. Sunderland Football Club's home ground, the Stadium of Light, was built on the site of the demolished Wearmouth Colliery that closed in 1993. A 4-metre high Davy lamp sculpture by Jim Roberts stands outside the stadium, containing a light that is never extinguished. The light of the city's enduring industrial spirit. A passionately loyal fan base, despite the team seeming forever destined to be the underdog. Although it did have a shock win of the FA Cup in 1973.
Marvellous, brilliant, fantastic.
They're on our way back home. The pride back to the town.
Yes. Pride back.
They've been holding their head up with the rest of the world now.
A pit winding wheel also stands outside the stadium, along with the sculpture Men of Steel by Graham Hopper, depicting 8-foot-tall figures endlessly rolling lumps of coal up the riverbank. Sunderland was once hailed the world's biggest shipbuilding town. My dad worked as an apprentice, then shipwright, making ladders at Austin and Pickersgill until not long before the yards permanently closed in 1988. He followed in the footsteps of other relatives working in the yard at the time, and all the way back to our ancestors who had left Ireland to move to Liverpool, then moved from Liverpool to Sunderland, all for shipbuilding work. Women contributed significantly at the shipyards during the Second World War, although often unacknowledged, like Christine Burtis, who also worked at Austin and Pickersgill. When Christine first started working, for about 6 months she couldn't speak. She lost her voice. You had to shout due to the noise and there was so much smoke. After the war, they kept a few women on for cleaning ships, just if their husbands had been killed. Christine noted that they never got any praise for what the women did. They should have put it in the local newspaper, the Sunderland Echo, to thank everybody, but they didn't. Factories like Plessey's Telecommunications had some sections with 95% women workers. In 1977, some families had as many as 4 wage earners working in the factory. My family had my grandmother, grandfather, great-uncle, great-aunties and uncle working there from the 1960s, just as telephones were becoming an increasingly popular form of communication. Mayfair Confectionery Company was started by local lad Harry Randall, who lost an eye working in the shipyards and used his £60 compensation to open up a confectionery firm with 4 shops in northeast England. By 1927, the 170 mostly women workers were making 7 million toffees a week. 850 out of 1,000 employees at British Ropes were women during the Second World War. From 1945, the Luxton Laundry was washing, drying and ironing for over 12,000 homes and processing 14,000 work overalls per week. When it closed in 2007, the first thing Sunderland Antiquarian Society saved was the company's archives thrown in the skip outside. Glassmaking in Sunderland dates back to 674 AD, when Benedict Biscop brought skilled craftsmen from Gaul to create the first stained glass window in England for St. Peter's Church at Wearmouth in Sunderland. The church was also home of the Venerable Bede, writer of an ecclesiastical history of the English people. The Weir Flint glassworks operated in the late 19th and 20th centuries, initially engaged in the production of pressed glass vessels, and then, from 1921, Pyrex goods. There was a saying, every household in Sunderland had some family member that had worked at Pyrex over the years. Pyrex's kitchenware made life easier for homemakers. Its casserole dishes were one pot, meaning they could be cooked in the oven and served in the same container, saving on washing up time. Oven cooking meant women's time was freed up to be getting on with other things while the dish was cooking, rather than having to stand over a stove the whole time, although the other things were often the rest of their domestic chores. Despite the industry's decline, the National Glass Centre was opened in Sunderland in 1998 on the former site of J.L. Thompson and Son shipyard, continuing the regeneration of the banks of the Wear. The building houses a history of Sunderland's glassmaking, twice daily hot glass studio demonstrations by skilled glassworkers, and the Glass and Ceramics University courses. In April 2024, it was announced that the National Glass Centre will close in 2026 due to structural issues caused by the glass roof, which was once an attraction in itself. The Sunderland people became the keepers of the city's history on their own journey to preserve its forgotten past, to piece together a narrative that speaks to them and those who will listen, attempting to occupy the absences left by the recorded history. Their voices give it life.
We are women, we are strong, we are fighting for our lives, side by side with our men, who work the nation's minds, united by the struggle, united by the past, and it's here we go, for the women of the working, here we go, one